The last that we heard was he went on a hunting trip. This one was different because he didn't let anybody know that he was going on a hunting trip. We didn't have any contact with him as far as us calling the phone. He would not answer. But when we proceeded to text the phone, he would text back and say things that were out of the ordinary. Wasn't texted like him as well. When we really noticed was Christmas. We text my dad every Christmas to say Merry Christmas, and my dad always responds, Merry Christmas, I love you, baby. And hers was Merry Christmas, I love you. And mine was just Merry Christmas.
Now's not the time to be holding secrets.
It's a very serious thing. You just don't go out and just accuse people of murder. You don't do that. If you're halfway intelligent, you don't do that. That Jeremy had a lot of motive and stuff. If you look at the history of Jeremy threatened to kill his dad many times.
Video evidence, Jeremy going and buying like cleaning supplies in some like 50-gallon barrel. Or I think that he's capable that he probably cut him up and put him in a barrel or something. I know that sounds grotesque and morbid, but hell.
My brother would never ever tell me that he loved me. Her and my brother are like two peas in a pod. And he would always tell my sister that he loved her.
I don't know what a dead body smells like, but it smelled real pungent and it smelled like cleaning stuff too.
Roger Fred Farmer, he went missing out of Indianapolis. Can somebody tell me if Roger Fred Farmer is dead or alive? Can somebody tell me if Roger Fred Farmer is dead or alive? Can you tell me who killed Roger? Why was Roger killed?
Have these text messages, and then we have my brother that's here. My brother would have never been here, but my dad, as a parent, you always want to give a child a second chance. And him and my dad never had a relationship, ever. It was violent.
So my brother was going through some financial difficulties and living in a hotel. I had honestly just kicked him out of my apartment. So my dad said, hey, come stay with me, like kind of a second chance at a relationship. And they were going to start this whole new business together. So that's when he moved in here and started trying to like mend this relationship with my dad. Really, we only knew that he was going to use him, and nobody had a great feeling about it.
Is Roger's body in water? Is Roger's body in the woods?
When my brother came over for Thanksgiving, my brother told my mom that my dad went on a hunting trip. And my mom, right that minute, she said something's not right.
Did Roger go hunting the day that he went missing?
So I filed the police report the day after Christmas. We had a missing persons case come out here and get involved. At that point, we found his teeth were still in the house. And then when they started kind of linking up like my dad's spending and where he was spending his money at, and then who was actually spending the money, we had to identify my brother in a couple of those video footages from the stores. So then homicide came out and they did an investigation on the house, and that's when homicide took over.
When my dad came up missing, my dad laid brand new carpet in this house. But the carpet was cut off around like the desk and everything, so it was gone. My brother had said that they were laying linoleum flooring or something.
And he just laid that carpet.
Yeah, he had just laid that carpet. So forensics did come in and test that room quite a few times, so we don't know.
So November 6th or 7th is the day that my dad supposedly left for his hunting trip. Text messages were coming in from my dad until a little bit after Christmas. So we were like, oh yeah, Dad's here, he's just hunting, he's gonna be back, he's gonna be back. And then Dad never came back.
Can you tell me where Roger's body is? Can you tell me how Roger was killed?
When they searched back here, did they go back in the woods at all?
They walked it, but they didn't search. Like, they kind of just rummaged through it. That's it.
They didn't have dogs and all that.
Nope, they just used they dived the pond. But no, we have not had any dogs used towards the case at all. So there is a trail through here for a little bit. And then everything after the trail, so this area I would say is what, maybe 2 miles long. It goes all the way out to Girls School Road.
Which I know it's super random, but there's a bunch of little gravels in there that look like gravels that was in the back of the truck. And then I was finding like these black trash bags as I was digging. I was just trying to think of like areas that had no vegetation and looked like possibly
So you
and
pulled a
easy
trash
to
can.
access. Yeah, see all that little gravel just stacked on top of there? Like it's super random. I'm just thinking, if he's gonna put him in the backyard, he's not gonna drag him 6 miles back. He's gonna do it somewhere super convenient for him.
I'm gonna get in the tree. Here, I'll move it.
I think it's a flower pot.
Is it one of those? Yeah, it's just flower pot.
I was like,
We're attempting to communicate with any spirits that may know what happened to Fred Farmer from Indianapolis. Can you hear us, yes or no? Is Fred close to the house? Was Fred taken to Cloverdale, yes or no? Fred, were you brought back to this area? Are you in Cloverdale? What are you near? Are you near the water tower in Cloverdale? Do we need to keep searching this woods? I still want to bring dogs out here because they can sweep this area and then we'll know for sure.
Probably beginning of January is really when the homicide people started digging in and investigating the cases, and we have searched land in Paragon, Cloverdale, Versailles, Eagle Creek, and still there's nothing that has come up. My dad's phone has pinged in Marion County only, but not after Christmas has it pinged. It's been shut off completely since then. He was supposedly hunting in Versailles, but his phone was only in Indianapolis ever. Never left Marion County, as far as we can tell by the pings.
First for the house, I'm going to have Miranda and Gwen check it and clear everything. And then Nanette and Paisley are going to go ahead and go in. And then after we're done with the house area, we're going to go and hit the pond and the wooded area behind the house.
And then everybody, when you get to the woods, needs to spread out and clear it, because there's actually 2 people that could be back in those woods.
Trying to tell us something, Fred? See how some of those are longer than others?
Yeah, long, short, long.
He's telling us something, man, maybe. Where are you now? Where are you now? Where are you now?
Our homicide detective found stuff that was pawned of my dad's, as far as like the crossbow that he would have went hunting with, and those are all gone. There's nothing left in the house. Somehow he conned my dad into getting a $90,000 truck that he's riding around in. We're still trying to battle with Jeremy to get a lawyer, but he won't get a lawyer. He keeps saying that he has one.
He says that he has an attorney, but he's not turning it over to the detectives. When they did his interview, he asked for an attorney, but he has yet to show up with an attorney. During this time, my brother has gone through rehab, and now he's kind of in like a rehab facility clinic.
He can survive by himself. That's why it's so crazy, because if he was out there, if he was stuck out in the middle of nowhere, he'd be here. Like, he can fight for himself. Like, he don't give two craps.
My dad had a Dalmatian, Tasha, that he adored, and she usually goes hunting with him, and she did not go hunting with him. His hunting clothes were still here.
His hunting bag was here. His tents were here. The boat, unfortunately, was pawned.
It was just the fact that nobody knew. Even his closest hunting friends did not know that he was going
Well, and that's
hunting.
the thing, like, he called my grandma every single day, and she didn't even know. Something's not right. It's not right at all. At all. But yeah, he definitely let everyone know about his hunting trips, and we didn't know anything.
If Roger's alive, can you tell me where he's at?
The ponds were made in January, so that's when we started really tracking the ponds. So after he should have already been hunting.
My dad is simple. I mean, my dad has money, but you wouldn't know. He was very humble, and it's unfortunate.
Coincidentally enough, OnStar does not track locations. They don't record that. So if you can call a vehicle at that time, they'll tell you the location, but they don't actually record it after. So then we had to really rely on cell phone pings. And so one of the cell phone pings was on this street, and then another cell phone ping was at the Greenwood Park Mall. So my brother's girlfriend was living in Greenwood at the time, and my dad's phone was turned on as well as my brother's phone together at the same Greenwood Mall. And then there was a ping in Cloverdale for 4 hours at some remote location. But the detective said that because of how little Cloverdale is, there's towers, and so it was like pinging at the weirdest locations. It'd be like 2 minutes here, then a minute here, or seconds. You know, it was pinging back and forth on the towers. We really searched it down to like a 4-mile radius, and we went down there and searched the land.
But this land, like where the ping was, like the roads, I was just driving. These roads were something that you had to map out, because the roads were like a 1-car road, and maybe he hunted there before, Jeremy, or went there before, but I would have never randomly just went to this place in the nowhere. And we were out there for 4 hours, and not one person drove by.
No.
Not one person.
So that ping was there a month after my dad had been missing. So we tried to think about, like, would you keep a body in the house for a month? What would you do with a body until you went to that location a month later? As you guys have experienced, like, if he was out there, the timing could have not have been right to find him because weather conditions weren't perfect. We searched out there when it was cold.
Because we had all dad's clothes.
Yeah.
Trying to find him.
We're attempting to communicate with any spirits that know what happened to Fred Farmer from Indianapolis. Can you tell me, was Fred brought to this area? Is he near the cell tower? Who brought Fred out here? Is Fred next to the gravel road? Is he next to this little stream? Is he in a wooded area? What do we need to look for?
Bushes.
How far is it off the road? Was Fred buried, yes or no? Trying to think what out here we could use for a marker. Are we on the right road, yes or no? Which direction do we need to go? 70's right there. We were running west. So east is this way. Right?
Yes.
Do we need to go back down the road? Is this the right cell phone tower? What do we need to look for? Is Fred in this woods, yes or no? I keep hearing near, but... What do we need to look for? Are we going the right direction? I you said go back. Is he back by the car? I feel like maybe if we go back to the car and run one. I don't know if it's saying go back, like go back further, or go back. Where do we need to go back to? Is Cloverdale the right area? I don't know, but this place I think feels a lot creepier than like Eagles Creek. I thought that felt fine.
Yeah.
This place just got a creepier feel to it. And you talk to the person that owns this property? So I'm trying to look at the time frame between when we know your dad went missing versus when he was pinging out here. And I think a month, to hold on to somebody's body for a month is pretty risky.
Yeah.
So I think we need to look at his pings closer to that date. Which way do we need to go? Which way do we need to turn? Keep saying woods and back. Should we go back towards the house? Can you see what road it is? What town is it in? Cloverdale the right area, yes or no?
Can you give me the first and last name of the person that killed Roger? Can you give me the name of the road that Roger's body's by?
My dad's an alcoholic. At the end of the night, he tends to get a little more, he drinks the heavier vodka stuff instead of the beer in the morning. So sometimes he can get a little more cranky. And my brother was on drugs and he drank Angry Orchards. So that can mix too, and I feel like my dad found out about what was going on behind the scene, and that's when a fight took place.
I don't feel like it was premeditated, like my dad was killed premeditatedly. You know, I feel like it was probably a spark of the moment. They were both angry, and then maybe that reaction of like, holy cow, what do I do next? Mm-hmm. But what gets me the most upset is if it was an accident, it's still all of the theft that has occurred afterwards.
I mean, this is really all we have of him left anymore. Now that everything's pawned, the only thing we have is really the house and the truck. We don't have anything.
Just trying to like narrow down, like, well, where could he have put him at,
The
right?
thing is my dad was a bigger guy. Like I said, he drank beer. So my brother is about your size, and my dad he has a big beer belly. So I just don't see how he could lift. I mean, this truck is a huge truck. That's why I didn't know if maybe it was placed in the Yukon. But I don't see how he could lift the body. And it could be, you know, power of drugs and alcohol. I don't think that he could be far.
Is your body above ground, Roger? Is your body by a location where you used to go hunting?
I had to confirm a purchase at Lowe's, and Jeremy purchased on Dad's credit card like 95-gallon trash can, bleach, Febreze, drop cloth, trash bags, and rubber gloves. As we got into the missing persons case, that was the first thing I had to do with missing persons, was confirm that was my brother who was buying those things at Lowe's, which was probably one of the hardest things to accept, because right then and there you kind of know that something was off.
Especially, but I mean, you just don't buy that stuff on a random basis. I mean, what do you need all that stuff? I mean, that's your dad missing and then you buy this stuff. I mean, you know, I would assume that something really happened. No, he's out. He's close. He's close. Closer than what we think. But I don't know how close.
Was your body placed in a pond? Roger, did they bury your body?
So my brother and we were like best friends, really. I was a lot closer to my brother than my dad. But at this point, it's like, I was pretty distant with my dad, but there's nothing I won't do to make sure I live up to what he deserves. My dad deserves justice. My dad deserves to be found. And we are not going to stop until we find him, regardless of who is involved.
I swear, I was like my dad's baby. Okay, this is gonna sound really weird. I guess I would say that his scruffiness, like rubbing his face on you, or
I was gonna say that
or
too.
throwing his dirty socks, or you know, like my dad was crazy like that, or pull my finger. He was just like he would give you the shirt off his back if he didn't have anything. I just miss seeing him in the garage. I miss his personality. I miss being able, because I feel like in my family, I connect more to my dad. He's more of a low cost, humble, and my dad just, he doesn't care. You know, he loves his kids, and he doesn't care what you are or what you want to do with your life. As long as you're happy, he's happy. I don't get those calls anymore.
I miss my dad loved my daughter through me. That's what I miss. Like slip and slides out front. My daughter would come over here, stay at my grandma's house during the summer while I was at work. And as my sister said, like when I would see my dad, that scruff, I hated it at the time, but I just miss feeling it across my cheek right now.
He would just hold you down and like rub his face on you.
But now I would just do anything to have that sensation back. But I do miss getting those random texts that just said, "Baby, I love you. I miss you." So the last text I actually got from my dad was on my birthday, which is Halloween. And he said, "I love you. I love you, baby. Happy birthday." So my dad would never just pack up. He would not just pack up and leave. He loves his grandkids. He loves his mom. His mom was in the hospital. He didn't come home for that. Like, he is not going to leave.
It's hard for anyone to understand unless you're in the shoes. I think the worst part is not knowing
what happened to him,
or not knowing where you know your own parent is. Can anybody worry, like, are you okay? Are you cold? Are you hungry? Do you need anything? And not being able to get there to them is the worst feeling in the world.
He was a great man overall, and he really deserves justice. He really deserves a proper burial.
Everything that we have points to my brother. There's not one thing that does not point to my brother.
When I first opened my dad's mail and I saw that his account was negative, I knew in my heart right then that it wasn't, that he was going to be involved.
Where is Roger's body? Can you give me a name of a road that's by Roger's body?
There's something he needs to let out, but he's afraid. Was he involved? I don't think he was involved, but I think he knows something, and I feel like if he feels like if he says something, he's going to be in trouble too, and he doesn't want to be in trouble.
Hello?
Hi, can I speak with Bobby?
Hello?
Hey Bobby, this is Josh Foreman. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. I produce a show called Chasing Evil, and we are currently working on Fred Farmer's case in Indianapolis. So I just wanted to reach out to you and see what information you may have even before Fred went missing leading up to that.
Jeremy is a sociopath at its finest. I don't know anything about Cloverdale. I mean, I know Fred used to go hunting quite often.
Leading up to that, had you ever seen anything, Jeremy doing any research or going to specific areas that were kind of out of the ordinary?
So I'd go over to Fred's house almost every day, a man in my life that I could talk to, and I never felt like I was judged. Everyone that knew Fred, were like, if you want to help your son out financially, that's on you, but do not let him live with you. Everyone told Fred not to do that, and I think what Fred was trying to do was mend the relationship, because he's getting older and his health wasn't that great. I would say Jeremy's probably a master manipulator in his own ways. I mean, he conned him into getting the new truck and stuff like that. And then I also heard that Jeremy had stolen or something one of Fred's credit cards, and Fred found out and was going to go to the police about it.
Jeremy ever confided in you about?
No, that's what I was talking to the detective about, because I was the first one to be like, because when you're around someone for so long, everyone has patterns and stuff, and when that pattern is disrupted, at least the people that notice those details, at least me, I'm like, things just aren't adding up, and I kept telling people, I don't think Fred's hunting, because he's not responding to any text. None of it made sense at all.
Who could I reach out to that Jeremy may have confided in?
When I was trying to play detective myself, and we would go out and we would drink, and I was hoping that he would get inebriated enough to where he would confide in me and shit, because I kept asking him, have you heard from Pops? Have you heard from Dad or anything like that? Because this is out of the ordinary. Like, this doesn't make any sense. He never confided in me, but my ex-girlfriend was a bartender, and Jeremy apparently was up there one night, and it was her, him, and I think it was one other person, maybe a few other people, I don't know, but Jeremy got really drunk, and I guess he literally told her that him and Fred got into an argument, and he shot Fred in the head and put the body in a freezer. That's what she told me, and no one believed me, and they all thought I was crazy. They're like, nothing bad happened to him. It was something that felt like in my soul, like something's wrong. I couldn't accuse him of anything, because if I did that, he would probably coil up like a snake and get defensive, Because that's a huge accusation. You just don't go around saying, hey, did you murder, your dad? I never thought shit like this happens. You only see this stuff on TV.
When you were with Jeremy, do you remember you guys ever using Fred's credit cards or anything like that?
Jeremy did. I found out that apparently one night Jeremy was up at the bar that my girlfriend worked, and he went to hand her the card, and it fell out. It dropped onto the floor. She picked it up and noticed that it said Roger Farmer. That's not Jeremy. So Jeremy was using the credit card apparently for. He lied so much, like you just don't know what the hell's real from what's not. One thing that Jeremy did tell me, this was one night when we were at the bar towards the beginning of it and stuff, I started to have my suspicions, was he was on his phone and he was telling me that he had to go pick up a check in Columbus, Ohio for like $10,000. And I looked over at his phone and he had like a picture from like a satellite view or whatever of a cornfield. When you're seeing all these things in the moment, you're not thinking ahead of time that you're going to have to remember these small details. Holy crap, that could be where he may have taken Fred's body. I don't know.
Is there any wooded areas that you guys would ever go to together or anything like that?
There's woods behind his house, and we would always go back there and just, there's a path where you can walk in a big circle, and we'd always walk back there and have some beers, as we're walking and just...
if you can remember anything, even if it seems insignificant.
This is what made me really question every single thing, was I went over there to get some painkillers. I went over there to get something off of Jeremy. And I go inside the house, and I sit down. He's sitting on the couch. He's got a laptop in front of him or whatever. And I smelled like this. I can't explain it. It was like a sweet, I don't know what a dead body smells like, but it smelled real pungent, and it smelled like cleaning stuff too.
If Jeremy did have something to do with this, what's your gut say as far as where he may have?
My gut says through what I think that he's capable, that he probably cut him up and put him in a barrel or something. I know that sounds grotesque and morbid, but hell. But I think maybe they got into an argument or something, and they were both drunk, and Jeremy shot him. Before all this happened, Fred had his whole house recarpeted, and that was a lot of money for him to do that. Jeremy told me that Fred wanted him to rip up all the carpet and put down wood flooring and stuff. I know Fred, he would never do that. He wouldn't just tell Jeremy to rip up the carpet he just paid, thousands of dollars to have done. He wouldn't do that. Yes, Jeremy is the one that did it, and he knows everything that happened. I just wish that he would give his father justice and tell us what the hell he did with the body.
Unfortunately, you're kind of caught up in it, just because of, being family.
I'll take a polygraph. I have no problems with that. I'm not hiding anything, and this isn't about me. It's about Fred Farmer and seeking justice for this man, because no one deserves this stuff, especially from his biological son.
Usually the first person that comes forward with information is the ones that walk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not saying that you have anything to do with this, but if, you did, or if there's something that you're not saying, it's beneficial for you to just come forward with that and say, listen, I'll cooperate, because eventually law enforcement is going to figure out exactly what happened.
Jeremy and I are not close.
Now's not the time to be holding secrets.
It's a very serious thing. You just don't go out and just accuse people of murder. You don't do that. If you're halfway intelligent, you don't do that. But Jeremy had a lot of motive and stuff. If you look at the history of Jeremy threatened to kill his dad many times.
We've seen like 4 or 5 psychics now, and they've all said that he's in the woods and close to water.
He's close by. I do feel like he panicked and probably put him closer than what we think now. I don't think that he's back here anywhere, and like I said, it could be wrong, but I don't know. But for some reason, I've just been pulling Eagle Creek.
Right now, we just feel stuck, right? We kind of are just so desperate to find something that's going to help us lead us to him. He just, like we said, he just deserves. He deserves a proper burial. He deserves justice, and we're going to seek it.
Yep. We're not going to stop.
Mm-hmm. I just we appreciate you guys so much for just coming and spending the time with us and really trying. Like, that means
a lot.
more than anything that you'll ever know. And I'm sure you get that from everybody, right? Everyone's so grateful for having you guys, but really, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Yep, we appreciate it.
The detective is 120% on board with having you guys here. He was super excited, so he said just whatever you guys need, just let him know.
Yeah.
I'd let him know that you guys are going to be here today, too. I just
said, he wanted to bring in a medium before COVID, and then we had to actually cancel her. She wanted to go to Cloverdale with us. We had to bring a shirt or something, some of his clothing, but he is totally into this. So
there are splatters on this wall over here that look like it had been cleaned.
So the carpet was all...
Yeah, so this was here, right here. This is new. So this piece was here. This little piece was here to where your foot is right there.
Yeah.
And then the closets remained.
So how big of a section was missing?
So it starts from right here all the way back and just take out
around
this
the
desk. That's it.
Yeah.
So the big piece, the rest of it was gone.
Oh, wow.
So the whole
The whole room, other than the closet around the desk.
So the whole room carpet was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Yeah,
And
that's...
they...
Now it does look like it was painted over again, because if you look, you can see the 2 different tones.
Especially on this wall, over where that blue thing is hanging on that wall, and it looked like there had been a lot of cleaner placed on the walls.
Oh yeah, you can see it up there. It's been painted. The white, the older.
This is my dad's bed that was in my dad's room. It was new. The mattresses that were in here, they did cut pieces out, and we got rid of them.
We're attempting to communicate with any spirits that may know what happened to Fred Farmer from Indianapolis. We've got both of his daughters here. Fred, were you killed inside this house? Fred, did your son have anything to do with your death? Where was your body taken to? Fred, is your body near Eagle Creek? What do we need to look for? You see, there's no cabins or anything out there that you know of, you've seen?
He said, like, my coat twice.
His coat?
Yeah,
Fred, was your body placed in a trash can? Are you near water?
Pace around your place.
Fred, we're here with your daughter, Tricia. Was she in the area that your body was taken to, yes or no? Fred, was your body taken to the woods behind your house? Fred, how were you murdered? Fred, can you answer one more question? Do we need to go out to Eagles Creek, yes or no? Well, there's definitely something that's real faint coming through. Do you think of anything else? Yeah, I think we'll run out to Eagles Creek and run a session out there.
My name is Tanya Horvath. I work for a law firm in Indianapolis. I am a medium of 20 years, so I do a lot of readings on the side. My husband and I have been friends with Fred since he moved in. He introduced us to his son. It was right in July, and he brought his son over and introduced him to two of us. And as soon as they left, my husband said, "I don't like that guy." Fred had told my husband and I before that his son had tried to kill him. But over the past 6 months, from July to October, early November, it was a lot of trouble over here, a lot of drama. And then once Jeremy came, it was just kind of a little bit of a weird feeling. So we were like, oh, kind of pull back a little bit. And that's kind of something I'll never forgive myself for. It was November 8th, right after his birthday. The police were there. My husband got home from work. It was evening. And my husband was kind of looking. Fred came over and he said, "I don't know, guys." He said, I can't tell you what's going on, which was very odd because he would always tell us something's going on. And he said, "All I can tell you is it has to do with fraud." And he said, "I got a bad feeling about this." But I literally snapped up and said, "Please, if your gut is telling you something's wrong, please trust yourself." And he said, "I know, hun." That was the last thing he ever said to me. He just turned around and started to walk away. And we said, "Where are you going?" And he goes, "I just got to clear my head, guys." And he walked home, and that was the last time we saw him. And she came to the house and said, "Have you heard from Fred?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I've got these text messages. We've texted back and forth, for a couple weeks now. He's telling me he's stuck." And she goes, "Something's not right." It was the day after Christmas, and my sister called and said, "Is Fred missing?" And I said, I'm beginning to think he is because, his ex-girlfriend stopped by. She said, "Well, his daughter just posted on Facebook, he's missing." And we were kind of like, oh my God, because every time we asked, he was stuck. So I really started looking at the texts once we realized that he was missing, and they filed a missing person report. And I'm like, these texts are not Fred. They were punctual, they were exact in the grammar, and that was not Fred. So I immediately was like, okay, this is not good. And I walked down the hallway, went into the spare room there. I felt a lot of emotion in the hallway, but when I walked into that room, I remember looking, and I just kept focusing on this piece of mattress that it looked like it had been wiped, but you could see orangey spots on it. There was a fight. He started to walk away, and everyone has said that he wasn't shot. He was hit. It was a strike right here. I'm very prominent with what I feel when I talk to him as to what happened. My head starts hurting like there's no tomorrow right here. Not sure about how long he was in the house. Logically, I try to think that's not possible, to leave someone in there. But then it's like, well, I guess it could be. We were gone. We weren't paying attention for a long period of time.
We're attempting to communicate with any spirits that know what happened to Roger Farmer from Indianapolis, Indiana. Can you hear us, yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Roger,
Oh, wow.
who hurt you? Roger, is your body in Indianapolis? Where was your body taken to? Can you tell us what your body's near? Roger, how did you die?
Last week, I did a channeling where we channeled him in and wrote everything down with what he said, because it's always been bits and pieces of what I've seen with that. He then said that he came up and jumped out of his room and came down the hall. They were arguing in the hall, and they had kind of pushed and shoved a little bit, and he turned to walk away, and his son said something, he turned back around. And he's like, I knew then I should have kept walking, but I didn't. He came back. He said that there was struggling. He kept telling me he fought. And then I feel the blow to the back of the head. And then he said all he saw was darkness, but then he felt pressure on his chest. And he was being hit like this. And then he could feel hands on him like this. He could have lived through it. He was made not to. That's very strong. He's very adamant that his son did do it, and that the other one knows something. He didn't have a hand in it, but he knows something. And he also told me that he would be caught. He told me that he was around water with a culvert with jagged rocks. And right before that, about 2 weeks ago, I had had a dream that he came to me and they found him. And I said, he was behind that big white rock all along. It was behind the big white rock. But I kept getting, they'll find me. They'll find me. I was like, okay, because it's time. It's time for him to be found. And he wants that justice for himself, and he wants to bring peace to his girls. So that's what I was shown by Fred.
Can you give me the name of a road that's by Roger's body? Can you tell me what's close to your body? Is your body in a wooded area?
We're wanting to speak with any spirits that know what happened to Fred Farmer from Indianapolis, Indiana. We're out at Eagle Creek. Can you tell me, was Fred Farmer brought out here, yes or no? Can any spirits hear us, yes or no? What area of town was Fred taken to? Fred, are we close to you right now? We need to know, was he brought to this area, yes or no? What do we need to look for? There's definitely a female coming through. Is it close to the road? Is Fred still in Indianapolis, yes or no? Is he near the culvert? What road is Fred near? Was Fred taken to a park?
Freddie, it's Tanya. I know that you're here with me. Can you please tell me where you were taken to? And who did this to you? Do we need to go near the rock? Fred, can you tell me about Cloverdale? Are you in Cloverdale? Are you in Cloverdale?
Mm-hmm.